So we're finally at the part of the chapter that's easy. You're going to find this easy. It just, you have to memorize a tiny bit of information and you'll be really, really good at it. So there are two types of bonds. There's the sigma bond, and that is basically what you get from a single bond. So sigma. And then you have pi bonds, and those don't get involved until you have at least double or triple bonds. So the framework of everything starts with a sigma bond. Even eventually there's going to be pi bonds, it starts with a sigma bond. So let's count the sigma bonds in this molecule. So we've got one, oops, that's a little large. So we've got one sigma bond here, two sigma bonds here, three sigma bonds here, 4 and 5. Notice how I counted just one of those two lines in that molecule as the sigma bond. That's important. So in a double bond or a triple bond, just one counts. So I have a total of 5 sigma bonds in this. What about the pi bonds? This right here is the only pi bond. So this has one pi bond. And as a little note, this right here, the way it looks, there's that big overlap between the two of them from the sigma bond side of things. I should probably color that the same color. So there's an overlap, and it's taking up that space between those C's. And then what's happening is that the C's had some P's on the top, and this part overlaps and that part overlaps. That is one pi bond. But it's kind of easy to just count them when you're looking at the lines. Let's look over here. So we're going to go back to the other color. So this is one, so that's between them. One of these, I'm grabbing the central one because it's the middle one that's right between the two atoms, is the one that's going to be the sigma bond. Right there, right there, right there, and right that. Those are all the sigma bonds. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sigma bonds. And then for my pi bonds, 1, 2 of those are pi bonds. 2 are pi bonds. And again, remember, because the sigma takes up that middle region there, this section right here, the pi's, they can't be right in front of each other. So one of these pi's is doing the same thing as the other one, and then they're like overlapping, and they're kind of forming kind of this top and bottom section. That's what one of the pi's are doing. But then what about the other pi? I'm going to color it like a darker color. What about that one? Because now someone's already in the top and the bottom position. Someone's in the middle. There's electrons in the middle. There's electrons top and bottom. Well, it actually comes out from the page, and it takes that section, and it overlaps kind of like that. Now, this is the important part. You've got to know this information. This is fundamental, and it will come back to haunt you in organic chemistry and on the final and everything. This is super important. You need to know that the single bonds are the longest bonds. So, longest bonds. Then you have your double bonds, and then you have your triple bonds. So that's length. Now, strength is the opposite. And it kind of makes sense, because if you imagine you have two atoms that are fairly far apart, it's going to be easier for something else to come along and grab it and then pull it so far that the bond breaks. If you've got something closer together, because you'll notice the bond length, the triple bonds are a lot closer, and they've just got more bonds in there. In that case, it's going to take a lot of energy, because you're going to be able to pull those three off, you're going to have to break each one of them one at a time to try to get to break. So it makes sense. You just want to remember this little trend that the singles are longer and the triples are the shortest. And then in this one, the singles are the weakest and that the triples are the strongest. Also notice what they're made out of. So the single bonds, like we've already said, it comes from just a sigma bond. Then when we do our double, one framework part of that bond is actually, it starts off as a sigma bond between the atoms. So same for the triples. And then once you get that first one in place, then you can go back and you can put your pi's in. And in every case, there's one pi and one sigma for a double, and there are two pi's and one sigma for a triple.